It's me, Zenobia Darling. You're listening to #Rockstar Life, the Coffee Break podcast. Let's go. Where the hell's my cold brew at? All right, we're live. What's up, guys? It's me, Zenobia Darling. I beamed down. We're here in Essex, Maryland. I'm actually in my office with Nicole, Buckingham, Kern. What is your title here?
Gallery coordinator.
The gallery coordinator here at CCBC. So, she is the person in charge of everything that happens in the art gallery here. She's the wrangler of the artists, and I always say artists are cats. So, how are you today?
I am okay. How are you doing?
I'm exhausted. We filmed A Theory of Anarchy this weekend. You were there. It was so crazy, so insane. You guys are going to see it, but and we'll get into the filming, but I'm just fucking exhausted today. Just truly, truly exhausted. So,
yeah, trust me, I am too. I don't know how anyone does that for a living.
It is fun, though. It is fun.
It was very fun. I thought my job was hard and my days were long, but oh, dear
It's
Lord.
long days. Long days.
Yeah.
You need caffeine. Also, it's crazy. And it's and acting's hard. You will see this on film. Acting is hard, and there comes a point where you just get done with it. And I don't know. I don't want to spill too much because you guys have to come to the November 1st premiere for it to see it. But it's something. It is. This art film is something wild. I can't wait for everyone to see it. So before we get into talking about the paranormal and talking about all this stuff, because I'm going to keep this very paranormal based for the Paranormal Realm because we're literally getting ready to go into install with it. So talk a little bit about your background. So where are you from? Where'd you go to college? Just let the little darlings know who you are.
So I am, as I tell people, born and bred in Baltimore. Grew up not 20 minutes from where I'm sitting right now. I did leave for a little while. I went to graduate school down in Savannah, Georgia. Got my MFA in painting there, and then came right on back up. And I don't want to say sort of fell into my job, but
It happens.
It happens. I pretty much fell into my job, and I've been here for 18 years, 17 full-time, 1 year part-time.
Mm-hmm. Were you an adjunct?
No. So what ended up happening was I always say I make my best decisions when I'm pissed off.
Well, I know that.
And and apparently I just got an email.
Well, I have to say, you wrangle a fire hose on a daily basis.
Yes, doing gallery work is rewarding and challenging at the same time.
Yeah.
But when I did get my job here, I had applied. Oh no, I saw an ad in the paper for a job fair, and I was like, okay, I'll go. I'll go. So I took a day off from my other job, which of course part-time, no paid time off, so I lost a day of pay.
Of course.
Which, as anyone knows, is,
fuck capitalism. There we go.
Well, yeah. And so I came down here for this job fair thinking that they would be hiring for working on the campus, and it was actually for working at other businesses, coming together to have a place to recruit and then to recruit students to go here. And I was like, well, that totally was not what I thought it was. And I walked my resume over to the current dean of the college, the dean at the time of the college, he's not here anymore, gave this whole spiel and handed over my resume and was told very nicely by this wonderful man that was spectacular, but actually we just switched departments. You have to go talk to somebody else.
Oh my God. That's when you're like, I pushed through the social anxiety. I did it. And yeah.
Yeah. And
wait,
so,
what does Brene Brown say? Something about I forget. It's been I don't know. I was listening to Oprah on her podcast, and Brene came up, and she said something about shame or you pushed through it and you did it, but then it didn't turn out the way you want.
Yep.
Fuck those moments.
So 3 people later, I got my resume in the hands of the right person, was told, thank you very much, but we don't have anything open right now. And then 2 days later, I get a phone call going, hey, do you want to teach 5 classes? Somebody just quit. And I went.
That's mine. I was gonna say something shady that I'm not gonna say. I'm not gonna say on mic.
And I went, sure, okay, and I've been here ever since. So
okay. So like what draws you to art? Like what, because I've seen you, because we've done, I mean, we do outreach here, like just, or what are not so much outreach. It would be like gallery bonding or something where we just paint for the day just because we both are artists and we love painting. So like what is it about art that you love? And like what type of styles are you doing right now?
So
For your personal work, not the gallery work.
Okay.
Personal work.
You mean like not the roller on the wall?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Because we do some cool shit here.
Yeah, it is. It's funny because I actually think of curating like making a piece of art, but that's a whole different conversation for a not paranormal based podcast.
Well, I mean, it's still artwork. It's the Paranormal Realm Beyond the Lore.
Yeah, that's
true. It actually opens October 14th, so
yes,
you get a sneak peek of it before
yes.
the opening.
And someone here sitting across from me is in another show that's paranormal.
Oh, yeah. I'm in
based.
Phantom Narratives 4 at Carroll County Community College with one of the artists. Can you mute that real quick?
Yeah.
Sorry, I just was like, yeah, you could see we're getting emails and emails because we're busy people. No, you're fine. Yeah, with Jesse Hardesty, who's in the show, like who we have their we have a fucking pumpkin coffin coming in.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Like, and we have like hand carved wooden Ouija board planchettes. Like, it is so fucking fierce. It is so, just wait. So
really
I
cool.
have 5 pieces in their show at Carroll County Community College. It opens 9/24. So by the time this comes out, it'll be open. But go see it because it's kind of a sneak peek of the paranormal realm. Like, there definitely is a crossover between the two.
It's a very cool show. I was there last night while Jesse was setting up, and it's
cool because I saw where the theater department's doing like a haunted house. Oh my god, what type of hauntings do they have?
I don't know.
Would it scare the shit out of my nephew? Because I really want to take him to it.
Well, it looks really cool. So I'll just say that. Very cool, very spooky, and some really beautiful work in the exhibition. So I'm excited to go see that too.
And we will have Jessie on the podcast in a little bit because she's amazing.
She is amazing. So aside from curating as an art endeavor, which I really think it is, for my personal work, I started out in my my early days. In my early days as a very traditional painter, down to the fact that I was taking master classes on how to use the techniques of painters from the late 1400s, early 1500s.
All straight white guys from Western Europe.
All straight white guys from West Europe. Yes, that was what I was studying.
Well, I mean, that is the curriculum. Like, sadly, like it's branching out now, but I mean, that is when people say I'm studying the masters, that's typically what they mean.
Exactly. Although there is one, and I can't remember her name at the moment, which is horrible, painter in the collection of the BMA who was that time period, but a female. So that was really cool.
I mean, there are little bits.
It's they had to have a father or a brother or a husband who was a painter in order to do anything, which sucks. But so anyway, that was what I started out doing, and then over the course of my time here doing gallery work, I realized that my focus has shifted. I actually haven't painted in several years, which I know, which makes my soul sad because I really do enjoy it.
I literally painted Sunday after filming because it calms me down and it's my active meditation.
It is very meditative, and I miss that portion of it. But because life is so crazy and busy, I don't have my chunks of time anymore to do that. So I've started making work that I can literally carry with me. And so...
Oh, yes. Talk about that. This is my fave. I love this.
That one.
I love this.
Okay. So it still doesn't have a title, but I refer to it as the world's longest umbilical cord. And I know what I want it to say, and briefly, it's about it's about women's labor and sort of the repetitive nature of it, and how it's, I don't want to say like taken for granted, but it's very invisible. And so, what I wanted to do with this piece was to make that invisible visible. Essentially.
No, I totally get that.
And so it's a very simple idea, and sometimes I feel really stupid when I talk about it, but it's a very simple idea.
No, it's a cool idea.
So it's yarn. I started it on October 29th, 2023. I took a picture. I've got the first foot photographed so I wouldn't forget. And I have been it's a weird bastardization of crochet and knitting because I can't do either, but
Really?
Really. I do not knit. I do not crochet. I was taught when I was younger by my mom about knitting and my grandmother for crocheting. Couldn't do either one of them.
Well, do you want to know something really funny?
Sure.
So my grandmother, Shirley, I called her Knit Knit because the wheels on the bus, there was the song, it was the grandmas on the bus go knit, knit, knit. And she taught me how to knit, sew, embroider. Like the curtains, I'm pretty sure they're still in the house because my aunt lives there now. But I'm pretty sure the curtains in there, that was what my grandmother taught me how to sew on. Like I was sitting on her lap with a sewing machine and now I'm a whiz at sewing. Like people are shocked by how good of a sewer I am.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
I will say my husband's learning how to sew because I can't.
I think everyone needs to learn how to sew. It's you need to learn that skill. Yeah. You need to, I can use a serger. I can use most sewing machines, but like the more advanced stuff, but like, I think everyone needs to know like how to use a sewing machine, how to make your own clothes. And also, like, you don't have to just, like, there is, like, cutting out the fabric and doing the patterns and stuff. There's also stuff, like, go to the thrift store and, like, alter shit for your body. Because, like, you shouldn't fit the clothes should fit you.
That's so true.
Yeah.
That is so true. So I couldn't really, I'm making hand gestures, not that anyone's going to be able to see it. But, so, like, it's this weird, like, mix of crocheting and knitting that I took what I remembered from being taught by my mother and my grandmother and watch some YouTube because, oh my gosh, YouTube is a lifesaver. And
I love YouTube.
It's amazing,
I do
right?
love it. And this is actually on YouTube. You can subscribe to my channel, Zenobia Darling. And you can see some of my old stuff from, like, the pandemic when I was just in my studio and, like, my old, like, Towson theater projects are on there.
Oh, I'm going to check those out now.
They're kind of embarrassing, though. Just don't. They're embarrassing, but they're fun.
It's okay. You always need to have some embarrassing stuff.
That's the thing. I'm like, you know what? I'm like, it's still fucking cool. Like, it's still fucking cool.
So I watched YouTube and I was watching this thing and they gave like several different ways of making it. It's essentially a really long eye chain. So if anyone's a knitter or a crocheter out there, you know what that is. And I'm using Red Heart yarn because, well, I like the name of it. And it's I don't want to say it's a very basic yarn, but it's like, it's a medium weight. It doesn't have a dye lot, so I don't have to worry about the color not being exactly right. And it's burgundy. And so I've been knit crocheting this very, 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 very long cord. I think at this point I'm up to maybe 400 or 500 feet, which sounds impressive, but it still fits in a bag, although I've outgrown a couple of bags.
So you're in like an IKEA tarp bag now?
Well, basically, yes. It's one my mother got tired of seeing it in a laundry basket. And so, because I was carrying a laundry basket everywhere because it was bigger than the tote bag I had. So she went through her stuff and gave me a larger bag. And my goal is to outgrow that bag and just have it take over. So
I love that.
Yeah, like and so that's what I'm making. I make it wherever I'm at. I take it with me. I make it in my living room. I've taken it to doctors' offices and sat in the waiting room and knitted it. And one of my providers came out and just started laughing, and she was like, I bet you no one knows that's the world's longest umbilical cord, because I've told everybody that I interface with about the project. So anyway, so that's what I'm doing, and like part of it will be interactive at some point, part of it is for display. I'm still figuring out the way I want it to like live in the world, and it can live in the world in a couple of different ways, but that's like one of my more, I don't want to say kookier projects, but
it's so fucking cool. Like it's a nice, I love the idea, the artistic intention. And also there's something meditative about sewing and knitting. Like I have a nifty knitter and like, I'm someone like, like my brain does not shut off. Like it just fires at full speed. So even when I'm like relaxed, I still have to be doing something. And like, I love just whipping around the nifty knitter, like boom. So there's something about it. And I've noticed that meditation and that self-care comes into it. So it's like woven into it. So I'm like, that's a badass idea.
Thank you. I really enjoy it. And I keep getting asked, like, when are you going to be done? And I think part of it is I don't think ever. I think
what you said, it's a mother's work. It's never done.
Well, it's true. And I feel like women's, I mean, and not to be sexist but as a woman in my age bracket, like I feel like I'm caught between an older generation that really fought for women's rights and those of us who thought, like this is just, we can do anything. We can do everything. And then you get to a certain point where you realize, no, there's still some of that, I don't want to say unappreciativeness because that's not what I'm talking about, but like that taken for granted or like undervalued level of work that goes into everything. And I think that anyone can experience that, but I do feel like right now it's still very disproportionately women.
Oh yeah, unfortunately, that's yeah.
So,
But I mean, it's changing. It's definitely changing.
it's changing. I give major props to the generations coming after me because I feel like they're really, really driving it home. So.
I love it. All right, well, we've been talking for like 15 minutes. I'm putting the ad break in here. Guys, we're going to be back to talk about the Paranormal Realm. Just wait. So, oof. All right, ad break. I got to pay for all this damn coffee I'm drinking and tea I'm spilling. What's up, art lovers? It's me, Zenobia Darling. Did you know I'm more than just a drag rock star? I'm also a very accomplished painter, photographer, and you can check it all out on ZenobiaDarlingCreative.com. Sponsored by the Harford County Cultural Arts Board, my blog, #RockstarLife, the arts blog. It explores all my creativity right when it crashes into local culture. Explore my neo-expressionistic fine art, my editorialized goth photography, and this is the best part. You can buy my original paintings, and you can spruce up your boring-ass walls, because every wall needs some glittering Zenobia Darling on them. So go check out Zenobia Darling Creative. The link is in the episode description. Ooh, what's up, Glamazons? It's Zenobia Darling, and you know my rockstar-ness doesn't just happen, right? It's crafted to perfection at Odyssey Salon and Day Spa in Aberdeen. Let me spill my secret. Abby, my badass stylist, is the mastermind behind my iconic glittering blonde mohawk. Whether you want to spike it up, smooth it out, dye it a killer shade, or just add that extra edge to your hair, the crew at Odyssey have the magic to make you feel like the superstar you truly are. And it's not just about hair. They keep my nails sharp, my skin polished, and every visit is an absolute blast. And here's the best part, my darlings. Odyssey isn't just about looking fierce. It is a safe space where us LGBT folks can feel right at home, shining as our truest selves. So if you're ready to live your own #rockstar life and embrace your creative spirit, get yourself to Odyssey Salon and Day Spa in Aberdeen. Tell them Zenobia sent you and show the world how fabulous us rock stars look. And you never know, you might run into yours truly. The link to book your visit to unlock your fabulosity is in the episode description. Hey, freaks and phantoms, it's your paranormal queen, Zenobia Darling, here with some killer news that I have to tell you about. There's an event creeping up your way that'll make your dark little heart skip a beat. The galleries at CCBC Essex are unleashing the Paranormal Realm Beyond the Lore, curated by the one and only Derek Pence, a.k.a. me. From October 14th to November 15th, 2024, dive into this immersive art exhibition with eerie works from an amazing lineup of artists who dare to ask, is the paranormal more than just spooky stories and folklore? And here is the kicker. On November 1st, during the opening reception, we're dropping the world premiere of Ethereal Anarchy, my new paranormal-themed art film, starring me, Zenobia Darling, and a few friends. Want to be a part of the madness? RSVP now. The link's in the episode description. And see you in the dark side, babes. All right, and we're back. Hope you enjoyed it. Guys, when is it open? October 14th, and then the premiere of Ethereal Anarchy is November 1st. Mm-hmm. Just wait. It's so crazy. So we kind of talked about it a little bit, but it's the Tuesday after filming it. We filmed it on Friday the 13th and the 14th. Like, the whole thing, there's been so much that goes into this film, but there's also so much that goes into just the whole art exhibition. So let's talk about the art exhibition. Like, I had this idea. I've always had a passion for the paranormal. Like, I think everyone knows that since I was a little kid. I have a family history of it on both my mom and my dad's side. Like, always just, I'm just a goth, spooky drag queen. And, like, there's this connection between drag, the paranormal, kind of like indigenous spirituality, all this stuff that all was kind of floating in my brain. And like, when we were doing Blaze Star, I noticed we had an open slot in October, and I was like, well, it's spooky season. Like, I want to do a paranormal art show. Because I bought this book. It's on Amazon called, like, The Paranormal in American Art. And I was like, that's a really cool idea. This was, like, last summer. And I got the book, and I was so underwhelmed with it. There was a few paintings that really kick ass, but I'm just like, I can do better. I can do so much fucking better, and I want to. And I just like pitched it to the gallery's like exhibition committee, and I was like, let's do it. It makes sense. And then we all come together. So now it's like, we're getting ready to go into install. And I really wanted to like deconstruct the paranormal, because I feel like so many people have like a Christian egotism about it. That's something I read into it. They have a fear of it. And it's like, it doesn't have to be scary. It doesn't have to be dark or like ridiculous, but it's like, let's have fun. I wanted to bring that into it, bring in the uncolonized nature of it, show off my neo-expressionism. Plus, CCBC is very haunted. There's a lot of ghosts on campus. There's a lot of spooky history, a lot of just actual history. So I wanted to bring all that into it. So what has this experience been like, kind of wrangling me as curator? Because you wrangle me as your like install coordinator here, but then you're wrangling me as a curator, and you also wrangled me as an actor this weekend, which was fun.
Well, I do say, as you mentioned, when you work in the arts, it's a lot of personalities, and it's a lot of, I don't want to say egos, because I don't mean it in a bad way. It's just a lot of having to see what makes people tick and making sure that, what they want out of their exhibition is what you can give to the best of your ability. And so there are times, and I don't think this is definitely not, individual or special to me. It's something that I've found a lot of gallerists and coordinators do, is there's this, you're part therapist. You are.
Yeah, well, that's like a bartender.
You're part therapist, you're part caterer, you're part like...
You're the doer of everything.
Yeah, and you have to pick up and roll your sleeves up and do the thing to get it done. And if, you really have to believe in what's going on in your spaces. And so, like, for us, I've always been a big believer... No, I will say I had to come to it. I've been exposed to many really great curators over the years. And so I had to come to this position that I'm at now, where I really feel that, particularly for us as a gallery, we're not commercial. We don't have to sell. It's great when we do, but we don't.
That's how art should be. Like, it's not, because so many artists I can name several, but there's one in particular who like is very capitalistic, and we've gotten into it before because he thinks that all art needs to be in a gallery, needs to sell, and that's the art you should do. And it's like, fuck that.
Yeah. And so for here, it's a great aspect to be in, is we don't have to worry about that, because we don't have to use the sales to keep the doors open. So, like, we're able to present a variety of work, and a variety of work that has a variety of audiences and meanings, because we reach out to many different types of people. So I feel like for us, particularly, I am more community based, we do all types of art shows, but my true heart is in something that really interacts with the community. And so when we're doing stuff like that, I try and keep that in mind when I'm working with curators and wrangling artists, and just trying to balance everything to sort of grease the wheel and keep things moving along.
Yeah. And I feel like you also are doing a good job of like maintaining like the communication between the actual college and like the curator, and making sure the art's still there, but not that there's like censorship or anything, but like there definitely is like a slant that needs to be taken just from non-art people to art people, and you kind of have to wrestle the two. It's
different modes of communication. Yeah. And so things that make sense to an artist may not make sense to an administrator. And so it's just being that sort of like go-between that can be like, yes, this all fits these things for our mission, and yes, this fits all these things for the creative endeavor. And so it's being that liaison, that sort of. I was talking to Megan this weekend, actually, while we were filming.
Megan Plummer, shout out.
Yes, Megan. And we were talking about it, and I said, I really feel like the metaphor I can give it is I'm a midwife. Like, I'm the one that...
Going back to the world's longest umbilical cord.
Exactly. It's that idea of like, it's not my baby, but it's someone else's baby, and I have to help shepherd it into the world and do the best to take care of it as I can. And so that's kind of what I do.
Well, you want to know another cool connection?
Sure.
You know where the whole saying where witches eat babies comes from?
Where is that from?
Because a lot of witches were midwives.
Well, yeah, and so they probably didn't want women. There's a whole thing. Don't even get me started about. So
I just thought when you said that, I was like, that's really badass. Because there is a big witchcraft component to all of this. I mean, everyone on my podcast knows I'm a witch. Like, I'm very open about it, and that is a major thing going into this, and that is something that I feel like we kind of have had to have talks about, because people are very, very nasty to witches, and there's a stigma and a weirdness to it, and a demonization when it's not that. And it's kind of like doing the art of drag too. It's like there is something you have to put in, and also when you start getting like the Christian egotism into it, it's a whole other can of worms. Like, I'm just like, fuck off. Like, you know, so I don't know. So there's that going. Yeah. So there was that going into it. And
well, and I get that, you know, like, I'm Catholic. I'm actually the only one left in my family who's Catholic. Everyone else is like
a recovering Catholic.
I'm more like the Christmas and Easter Catholic. Yeah. Although I haven't been to Christmas or Easter in a long time.
Well, you know they're based off like pagan holidays.
Totally. I was just reading a thing
Yule,
the other day about
Christmas.
The Vatican. Like it's built on a hill, the Vatican Hill, which was originally dedicated to a goddess, and I cannot pronounce her name, but it was Vaticanus or something like that. It's really cool. I came across that like, you know, when you're doom scrolling and spiraling through, and then I find articles and I read these things and I'm like, oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of root from different religions. I mean, Catholicism being one of the major ones is dealing with the idea of like, you know, I don't even like different holidays being co-opted and stuff like that. We did a lot of research when I was in school on those
like
sorts
this
of
is
things.
the thing I always say about all religions. They're all trying to explain the same thing. And the only difference between Christianity to Islam to Buddhism to witchcraft is just the way it looks. That's literally it.
Well, if you think about it, it's the, you know, taking a personal experience. Religion is taking something.
It's taking paranormal experiences too.
It is. Well, it's taking the unexplained. There is something unexplainable that we as humans want to identify and put an explanation to. And so you can only come at it from your point of view.
Yeah.
You know? And so I feel like religion, not to say it's a window dressing, but it's basically a vehicle or a box for the explanation based on where this person has come from. And so, like, personally, I believe in a higher power. I don't know who or what that is. I know as a Catholic, everyone, God, probably got everyone rolling over in their grave. But whatever. You know, it's like that.
It's Father, Son, Holy Ghost. I had Oprah, Lady Gaga, Madonna to it. But.
Well, and you know, like there's the whole
divine.
Shekinah from the Jewish religion, and like there's whatever. And then you have Mary from the Catholicism, but she's not a god. She's like whatever. And it really, I guess Jesus would be a half deity. Anyway, I'm going down a rabbit hole.
Well, he's also a witch.
But they did think originally he was a sorcerer. Like when you...
yeah, totally.
Yeah, because I remember we had to do... And this, I swear to God, this was in Catholic school. In Catholic school, we had to do a whole exegesis. And we were learning about like the way of dissecting the Bible, which is really fascinating. But I'm going down a rabbit hole. I won't even go there.
It's the Bible. I always say the Bible is a good story.
Well,
there is something you can get out of it. Just like the people who like don't eat shellfish because it says in the Bible you shouldn't. Like that's not the science of modern day. Like it's stuff like that I get annoyed with.
Well, some of it might be just maybe it wasn't healthy back then.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
just
now
think how bad fish goes.
Yeah,
fast.
But it's like one of those things where it's like I think there's things. It's like any book. Like I could, you know, I've read the Bible, I've read the Quran, I read a lot of the religious texts, and I'm like, you get something out of each one. Pick and choose. Like you're the creator of your own spirituality. Like. I don't know, get something out of it. I just don't get the people who like, oh, it's the Bible, like, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, fuck off.
Well, it's a metaphor.
Yes.
It's essentially a metaphor in order to describe the human experience and explaining the unexplained. Like, so once again, down a rabbit hole, but like my kid and I like to watch YouTube videos. And there's this one series, we went on this whole thing about like watching about the universe and Big Bang and how it's a theory and they still are figuring it out. But if you think about it, there was something that exploded somewhere, according to this theory, and then it creates everything else. And so, essentially, if that creates everything else, then we are stardust.
Totally.
Because we come from it.
Totally.
You know? So how cool is it to think that we are stardust?
And you know what I always go into think about it? So when the sperm fertilizes the egg, there's like a mini explosion.
Well, that makes sense. It's an energy.
Yeah, and I just like, I find that very fascinating, that like, it's like that kind of is like repeated and there's like these little things that keep popping up and you know it's like the Big Bang but then you have like a little bang inside of a uterus like when the baby's being born. And
the other thing was, what was it, I can never remember the exact saying, but it's the theory of, is it relativity? Energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It can only change. And so like that's a really interesting idea. Like, so if you're thinking about energy, so our energy comes from somewhere and when we die, where does it go? Well, if it can't end, then it's living on in some form. It just might be different than what we can conceive or perceive or experience. So like that's kind of like, I guess you could say that's even where I come up with the paranormal. Like when we were talking about
But I mean, this is the thing I like about it is we're having this conversation, and it's like people think the paranormal, they think of, oh, Halloween time spookiness. And I'm like, no, there's more to it. And like, I really want people when they see this exhibition to be like, to question, what is the paranormal? What is my relationship with it? Where does it live on? Like, is it, and if it's not for you, it's not for you. It's not for everybody. But, and maybe it's just something they do at Halloween just to, be decorative. Because I also know a lot of religious people that don't celebrate Halloween. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, Halloween's the best. Out of all of them, Halloween's the best.
Well, Halloween's fun. I mean, at what other point in your life do you get a day where you get a pass to dress as whatever you want and be whoever you want, and so that's a really interesting kind of thing. And so, yeah, I mean, I can see, and you get behind it because, kids like the candy and everything else. I mean, it's a fun holiday.
Yeah, and it's also celebrating, like, the veil is thinner. It's fall. You got like the harvest, the summer harvest coming to you're going into winter where everything kind of goes dormant, and you're returning back to the darker side of time, and the more the retreating. So it's like the final celebration, and you're celebrating the life cycle because in spring around Easter and all that stuff, it comes from like all the flowers are in bloom, all the animals are horny and want to fuck and mate, and it's like that. You're celebrating that. And then all the colors are different. And then during the fall and Halloween, it's like, okay, now the life cycle's closing. Mm-hmm. We still need to celebrate it because it's like, let's just have fun in life.
Because it's a change.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's very natural for life to change.
Yeah. The only thing constant in life is change.
That's true.
Yeah. And it's the only thing that, it's just like you just kind of have to like, I don't know, you just have to radically accept it.
Yes.
So what are you looking forward to most about this show?
So, well, we've got some really great artists, yourself included,
yes.
Of course.
I have some neo-expressionist, like, paranormal-themed art that, like, it's some of my best work yet, yes. I have to say.
I love it. And I love the spirit of joy that comes with your pieces. Because a lot of the paranormal work, like, you see, like, the typical, like, creepy, scary horror, but in Zenobia's work, we definitely have like this wonderful sense of joy that is with it.
There's like a camp and like a comedy to it, almost like Elvira to it.
Yes. It's really fun. So I really enjoy those pieces. But we've got like a variety of work from photography, some work of photography as other. We have some documentary stuff of, I think, an accidental paranormal investigation where someone was going in just to do like Urban
X, yeah.
Exactly. And then
was that at Forest Haven?
Yes, it was.
Because I had a synchronicity with Forest Haven Friday night going to the Airbnb after the first day of filming.
Oh, yeah?
If you go down that road in Catonsville.
Yes.
It says, and I looked over and I was like, what are the fucking chances of this that we were just talking about? Because Forest Haven Asylum it's one of my dream paranormal investigating places. It's like, you have the major asylums that people always go in. You have Penhurst, you have Trans-Allegheny, you have Letchworth, you have all the big ones. Forest Haven is Maryland's one. It's Baltimore's. It's near BW Parkway, I believe in Laurel. Like it's in that area, like definitely Anne Arundel County, like, PG County, that area. But it is our haunted asylum. And we found a video of who was the dude's name?
It was Charm City
Paranormal. They went in there and they had some weird shit happen.
It's really cool.
And then I forget the artist's name. The one with
the photos?
Yeah.
Ashley Reinhardt. She's actually a former alum of the college.
Okay.
Yeah.
And works at Micah.
Yeah.
And has some ghost photography from Urban X there.
Yes. It's really cool. And there's a whole story behind that, which I'm sure she'll be more than happy to
she'll
share.
come on the podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Ashley's really fun. And she was a late addition to the show because I was talking to her about something else and said, I'd really like you to meet Zenobia, and we were talking about the show, and I was like, yeah, and she's like, oh, I just have to tell you I did this, and she's like, the last time I did that kind of photography, because it was like intense, so that was really cool. So we've got her, and then trying to remember all the names. We have like some installation based work
we have Linnea Tober, who will be on the podcast, my fairy witch mom, who runs Haven. We have her assemblage doll pieces. And I'm going into this, and I've already talked to Linnea about this, that Island of the Dolls in Mexico City, I want to make something creepy like that. Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure some of the dolls are actually haunted, too. So we're going to have a spirit box on it. So just, like, wait. Like, it's gonna be fun.
It is gonna be fun. So we've got that, and we've got some photography from Lexi.
Oh yeah, Lexi Houck. She's been on the podcast.
Yep. And then we've got an artist who traditionally has a theater background, but does these beautiful for costuming and mask making.
Is it Elisa?
Elisa.
Yeah.
So the mask making and the performance based pieces,
Yes.
which I don't know if we'll have the actual performance piece, but we're definitely going to have like artifacts from the performance pieces, which is really cool.
They're really cool. Yeah.
I'm trying to make sure I don't forget anybody.
And then we have we got a new addition, Studio 5, my friends, who photograph all the drag queens in Baltimore. I asked for specifically the spooky, more Dragula style drag queens, and like a lot of the main drag queens in Baltimore doing their Halloween stuff. So I'm super excited for that. That's probably my favorite because like I really I'm taking this into such a queer direction that I initially planned on. And I'm so excited because there is a connection between drag and the paranormal. And as I was going into curate this, it started to become apparent. I'm like, let's shift into this mode now.
Mm-hmm. And I've been handing out flyers as people come by because they saw the last show come down and then asking about the new show going up. So I've been handing out flyers. And
can we butcher paper with glass?
Let me think about that.
Okay. I don't mean to ask you on mic, but I'm like, can we do it like an actual art gallery opening?
We'll do something.
Okay. We will be filming it too.
And then I just want to make sure. So, and then Jessie Hardesty.
Yes.
From Carroll Community, who does these. Every 2 years she does the Phantom Narratives exhibition in her space, and she's got her work. There's a couple of the planchettes, the coffin. There's some scrolls, and she also had put together a portfolio of prints, which is a whole thing by a variety of artists.
Oh, yes, for the UFO section.
Exactly, which is First Contact. And so we haven't actually selected out of that portfolio which ones are going to go in the show, but there will be some other artists added to the exhibition by virtue of being a part of that portfolio, which is really cool. So it's just
wait.
It's going to be a really interesting, and anyone and everyone can get something from a different level. You know, you can come at it from I just want to have a fun Halloween show, and they can come at it from that angle. And then, but if someone wants to like really learn, we've got some informational plaques that we've been working on that talk about different paranormal topics and
how to ethically ghost hunt. What is this stuff? How to deal with it? Because people think ghost hunting is what you see on television, and it's not. And that's also something going into the art film of Theater Anarchy. You're going to see, like, we went into it shooting a documentary about the history through the paranormal of the college campus, and it went into such a different direction, and that's the nature of the paranormal, and you have to be ready for it. But you also see the ethicalness of it, and you also see, like, you know, you can go out and play with spirits, you can go out and ghost hunt, but you need to do it respectfully and responsibly, and I'll teach you how to do all that stuff. So it's like stuff like that. And also, like, what is, like, you know, people know about Sasquatch, like Chupacabra, Mothman. They're probably the most famous cryptids, but there are local Maryland cryptids. There's like the Goat Man of Bowie, which has a connection to Forest Haven, which I think is really cool. Like there's been reports of a cryptid. I actually just worked on a painting like last week on it that I don't know if I'll be in the show or not, but there's like a cryptid type creature seen at Conker Point Lighthouse in Havre de Grace. Like, it's a winged hominoid with glowing red eyes that are super far apart. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
Like, that's really cool. And I think that, you know, the paranormal is so interesting because there is still that sense of, I don't know, we live in a world where everything is science and money. You know, like, I mean, that's really what it is. And to have a chance to sort of put that aside and kind of gaze and wonder and think is, I think, really healthy for humanity and for the soul. Like, I think we end up divorcing ourselves from that sense of magic, you know, and magic in any way you want to take that word. So it's just, I think it's fun. It's a fun topic, and it's also a topic that you can really get some really good human discussion, you know, like talking about these topics, and whether you believe or don't believe, or you're in the middle and you're trying to figure out, or maybe like you believe in certain things but not others, or maybe you don't believe at all. And then like we were having a discussion, I was explaining to someone the spirit box, like what the spirit box was, because quite frankly, I had never seen one before I met you. And
I was like, yeah, I just, because like that's the other thing is like working here, like we like to go on like walks, and like again, both campuses here have paranormal stuff. Like there's a graveyard on Essex we go to all the time. There's also haunted artifacts. Like we have the pre-Columbian collection outside of Dean Walsh's office that are haunted. They have a spirit attached to them, and the spirit is cool. Be respectful if you engage, but they're cool artifacts, and they're again, so it's like that stuff. And then you have the Kingsville, which has the frickin' mansion, the farmhouse, just all sorts of shit. Like, so we always go for walks, and like I always have my spirit box with me, and I just started bringing it out, and then you really started taking an interest in it. And like, what has that experience been like? Because like I've really seen you start becoming your own paranormal investigator. Because like when we were filming, I mean, because the other thing with the film, and it was very acting heavy, and like we were doing like movie stuff with like me acting and stuff, which is a lot of standing around, a lot of downtime. You went off and did your own paranormal investigation while we were like filming the setup I can't even talk, when we were setting up the like the setup shots for it. Like you went off and led your own investigation.
Well, let's just say stumble through my own investigation.
Well, I mean, I always say that. Yeah, it just.
But it was fun. So how do I put it? It was interesting because I had two friends with me, and you know, we were going around the farmhouse actually, because I've always kind of been curious about that spot because it's just sort of in the middle of campus on top of this hill.
Oh, guys, it's haunted as fuck.
Like I will say, the EMF readings were
it
all
probably
over the place.
won't make it in the, because we will be doing a full-length documentary, and we're in the process of trying to figure out how to get that because we have to pay the editor, but we have enough footage to have a full-length documentary. So it might not be in the film premiering, but we did investigate the farmhouse, and we did get a lot of activity. It's very haunted.
It was like, I'm not like, okay, so how do I put it? Like other people in the investigation, like I remember Megan asking me, like, how do you feel? Like when you're in these places, like, how do you feel? And as I've said, I'm kind of a doubting Thomas, you know, like I always like, I want to believe, but then I also like, I always am looking for that proof, like that correlation. And then I go back and I think, could it be coincidence? And so I argue with myself a lot. And so like when I walk into a place, like when I walked into the farmhouse, well, one, it's empty. I mean, like it used to be used for a variety of different things, and the last time it was a series of offices, suites, and stuff.
Because I'm pretty sure it was like the marketing office when they were probably renovating the marketing thing. Because it seemed like a lot of the names up there, I was like, I recognize those names.
Marketing. And so like there's abandoned desks, there's like papers, there's still like photocopiers plugged in, which is weird.
The weird thing that like we're walking into it, I was like, okay, like I've been in many abandoned haunted buildings. I was like, this is giving me that haunted building vibe. Like
it felt oppressive.
Yes.
Like that was one thing I noticed. Like it wasn't like just walking into an empty building. It felt small, and I felt squeezed.
And it's claustrophobic in there.
Yeah, and it was a lot of tiny little rooms.
And I got lost. It's like a maze in there.
You do get lost.
Yeah, you get
there.
lost because it's like weird corridors. Because like they were calling me to come up and do the shot, and I'm like, I'm coming, but I can't find my way out of this fucking place. Like,
yeah, it had no sense of logic. Which I mean, makes sense. It was an old farmhouse, right? So as they add on, and rooms were small because you want to keep the heat in. So like, it makes sense in terms of the time the building was built. But like, it definitely. And I've been in old buildings. I've been in a couple of old buildings. I've only been in two that made me feel the way the farmhouse did. The farmhouse being one. I had I don't want to say an experience, but I had a similar feeling in a place that I was looking at when my husband and I were looking to buy a house.
Was it in Port Deposit?
It wasn't, although I did. That was before I was married.
I've been on many ghosts on Port Deposit, legal and non-legal.
No, it was a house. It was the very first house we looked at, and it was up in the Hereford zone. And it was on a road called Jolly Acres. Like, I kid you not. That was the name of the
It probably
road.
had some type of dark haunting to it.
And so it was a beautiful property. And the house was, I mean, it was old. I don't want to say super old, but it was old enough. And I remember going in there, and I just felt dizzy. Like, really dizzy. And I had talked to the realtor, and I really enjoyed walking through it. It was one of those places that the basement was still dirt. So it was that kind of old.
Oh.
And someone had put a den down there. Like, I don't even understand. You had to walk through the dirt area to get to a carpeted area that was a den. It was weird. So, but anyway, I felt very dizzy. It was just very strange.
I don't know how people work in there. I mean, we were shooting a scene in there and then investigating, and like once we got to the hour mark, I'm like, okay, I'm tired. I'm bitchy. I have a headache. I'm like, the EMF readings of that building were so. Like, the baseline was so sky high.
It was flickering red. Yeah. So, like, the feeling that I had at that Jolly Acres house, that dizziness, I had the same thing in the farmhouse because I had gone up to the third floor with basically as high as you could go where it stopped. And there were, like, 2 dormers and then 2 closets, and that was pretty much it. And so I was up there with my 2 friends, and we were sitting on this little tiny, like, landing, and I got super, like... And it wasn't like, because I have vertigo, and so I know when the vertigo is hitting, it wasn't that. It was sort of like a swimmy pressure, kind of in your head where it expanded and contracted. Like, it was strange. And so we ended up going back downstairs, but like it felt claustrophobic. It really did. And I do not have that problem.
And it also, to me, psychically felt very crowded. And we got Lighthouse as one of the EVPs through Spirit Box. I almost think that was also kind of something to me, because you'll see it in the film. Let's just say I had someone from my past come through and change everything. So I don't know if it was connected to that, but I could definitely see where that building would be like where the ghosts go to. Because we did pick up on a student who pretty sure suicided themselves on campus in the basement.
Or at the very least self-harmed.
And then we also got spirits that didn't trust us as white people. And you actually, like, you see me bring in a person of color to start leading the investigation, because I'm like, okay, like, they're not going to trust us, which is totally understandable given the nature that this is a 18th century farmhouse that has a slave history with enslaved people. And that's part of the ethical ghost hunting, is like, you have to be aware of the history, what the spirits are feeling. And I can guarantee you an enslaved Black person that's a spirit is not going to trust any white person.
Can you blame them?
Yeah. And it's like, I don't blame them. So that's why you need to bring in, like, bring in another person of color. And like, and I noticed we were getting stuff when they were doing, when they started leading it. And it's like, that's how you do it. But the farmhouse is very haunted. And the Hilton Mansion also on campus is very haunted. You won't see it in the film, thanks to, again, someone from my past who came in and just said, I'm putting a show on, hold up. But after we were done filming, me, you, and Megan went in the stairwell, and we were getting a man coming through that was with the Confederates. And Kathy talks about the history where the mansion was like a reverse Underground Railroad for Confederates escaping the North to go south. And I think he was one of them, which is part of the history of the mansion. And I mean, they're all haunted. They're all super haunted.
Well, and that's kind of the, as you had mentioned, like using the paranormal to, I don't want to say flesh out the history, because history can be so, I hate to say it, boring and dry. I mean, it really can be.
It makes it fun and engaging. And I mean, people wonder why Gettysburg is such, and Point Pleasant and Salem, Massachusetts, and St. Augustine and those old mining towns in like Nevada. It's like they have a booming tourism economy because specifically of the paranormal, because they're open to it. You can, like, when people are open to the, like, historical societies or nonprofits that do historic preservation, when they open that up to the paranormal, it's such a untapped revenue stream to keep funding their preservation efforts. And it's, like, because you pay money to go, you get a team to go in there. Okay. And people want to get excited. They're like, let's go. Like, let's go. I want to, let's stay at your hotel because I want to maybe see a ghost. Like, there's history here. Like, it's stuff, people get very excited about it. And that's, so that's also the other angle that we were trying to come at it. I mean, the movie takes its own turn again, but that's what we went into it going with. And you will see some of that.
What do they say? Best laid plans of mice and men.
Well, and also it's like, and that person that came through, like, it's totally him to do something like that. I mean, just hijack it, the synchronicities, all of it. Like, it's so, I don't even know. Like, you witnessed it without giving what exactly it is. What was your take on all of it? Because I know you weren't in the scene when it hit me, but you saw the aftermath and you saw how real and like emotional I got, because I was like, oh, this is like, this person is coming, is here, like in the spirit world.
Well, I can say that I have seen you in a variety of moods and modes. And yeah. And this weekend, it was very raw.
Yeah.
Very raw, very heartfelt, very
because you're actually going to be in it, because you, when the second day, like when we do the oh, where's Andy, get a camera, we got to go moment there, you're right there, because I think you follow Ryan out with a camera.
I did follow Ryan out.
So did Kathy too. That's the thing, Kathy Till.
No, we
friend
did.
of the pod.
We did, because it was, well, I mean, like you said, best laid plans of mice and men.
Yeah.
You know, like you go into something with an intention, and then the intention gets turned on its head. You know, and I mean, it's a perfect metaphor for life. I mean, that's exactly the way everything goes. And I feel like that, without saying what happened, that as I was talking to Megan, like after the fact, and we were saying that definitely what happened, and sort of like elbowing everything out of the way, that there were other, we could say, entities or forces or whatever that were still there trying to come through.
And this person was like, nope, my turn.
Exactly.
They set the stage for me. I'm coming through.
It's like,
thank
boom,
you.
out of the way. You can be here later. You know, like that's kind of how
Which
it
is
felt.
totally that person.
And so, and that made some of like the, like, and it's different going through it like in the moment. Like I remember how everything felt like in the moment for some of the stuff, like not the portion that you were talking about before, but like prior to that, like while some of the investigation was going on with like the Estes method, you know, and
the Emmett method.
Emmett method.
That I keep butchering it.
Emmett method. Oh my God, maybe we should just name it the Emmett method. Just
That's
make it the new
Zenobia's
method
version with some fetish gear. Get like a fetish blindfold.
But like when that was going on, and like just sort of, it's different when you're in it, feeling the energy and like kind of like listening and that kind of thing. And then later when you're reviewing the recordings and the footage, and it's, I don't know how to put it. Like I enjoy both aspects of it, because being in the moment and experiencing it, is different than, I don't want to say the cold hard reality of what's on a computer, but like then going back to the computer and listening to a recording or watching the footage and going, no, that really happened, you know, like that really happened. Or like that thing I thought I heard, now I can like turn the volume all the way up and I can really listen and go, oh, no, there's more there than I thought was there.
Oh, totally.
You know, like those are the other really, I don't want to say just fun, but like thought-provoking things that happen. And I really do believe a life unexamined is not one worth living. So like having these experiences and going on these sorts of investigations, in essence, can be really, I don't know, like I don't want to say comforting, because no one likes the idea of a void at the end of everything, but gives a sense of like order and place, you know, and
also I feel like the whole theme of the like, you guys will all feel this, like love doesn't die.
Yeah,
it doesn't die, and it triumphs addiction, mental illness, any darkness, like through the spirit world and the paranormal. Like love is what, like, and you will see and you will feel it, and it's one of those things that will, I mean, it will, I felt like I got hit by a bus, but a good bus that night. Like it was one of those things where I was like, oh, this is crazy, but you get that sense of like love and like, wait a minute, like this is really cool. I mean, I'm sure some Christian fuck's probably gonna say it's a demon, but I'm like, it wasn't. Like I know what happened, and the real emotion that you see when I feel it and when this moment happens, like it's paranormal, but you can't tell me that it's not real, and that there's not love there, and that wasn't a high vibration thing. Like, you know.
Well, and I would think that the takeaway would be for me is no matter what background you come from, you know, there is that sense of that. You're right. Love never dies.
It never dies.
And in terms of like, I don't know, this is just my own personal philosophy, but I feel like we create our own demons. And because we don't focus enough on the love that's there.
Oh, totally. Because it's one of those things where, like, with the film, it's like I had put this event, I locked it away when this person passed and never really dealt. I mean, literally, it happened 3 weeks before I went to Africa and then was in Africa and then just kind of just kept back and forth here, there, doing my thing. And it's like, I just hadn't thought about it. And then this person comes through and like you literally see all of that, but then you also see it with like, wait a minute, all that love is still there. All that's what's so, I don't know. I can't wait for everyone to see it. I truly can't. It's something that I'm excited for this, and I'm excited for the one that's going to premiere for the art exhibition, but I'm also super excited about the full-length documentary that the whole thing's going to be a part of next year, because it is, when you guys see it, it will definitely make you question the paranormal, question all this stuff, but it also has that like feel good storytelling. It also has like the good like reality show bullshit that happens. I mean, if you like Real Housewives and you like, Ghost Adventures, like, it definitely has that bullshit to it. Like, but it's in a fun, playful way. But I don't know. So wrapping up. So I want to bring it back to Jeremiah. Jeremiah, the most famous ghost of Have You Grace, my good homie from the State Theater. He has introduced himself to you. You've had an experience. I've mentioned it before on the podcast, but let's end this with Jeremiah, just like, my good homie, knocking on the door. Just say what happened that day, because there's so much that happened.
Okay, so that was it February? I think it was back in February.
It was cold out.
You and one of my workers, my student workers, were in the gallery, wrapping up some stuff. And I had to hop onto a meeting because half my life is meetings. And so I was on my computer, with I can't even have my headphones on. Yeah. I can't remember. I think you did.
I think you did.
Because I was sitting there and because I couldn't open the door without getting jerked by the headphones. So they were on.
And all the blinds were closed.
All the blinds were closed because I like to not be bothered when I'm in a meeting.
Because I do that.
Yeah, I get like funny faces through the windows. And so all the blinds were shut. I was on my meeting, and I heard, and I mean, as clear as day. I mean, seriously, I heard on my door. And of course, the blinds are shut. And I was like, oh, I guess they need me for something. So, I go to open the door, get janked by the stupid headphones because I am a klutz. So take those off. And then I open I was janked by the headphones and I opened the door at the same time. So I janked by the headphones, open the door and pull it open, sort of half leaning out from my desk. And there is no one at my door. And I'm like, this is literally like 2 seconds later. There was no pause. Because you can reach the door handle from my desk. That's how close it is. And so I remember that. And then I looked out at you and I said, did you need me for something?
And me and the gallery attendant were like on the far end of the gallery. We both had shit in our hands.
Yep.
And I'm looking at her and I'm like, what happened? Like, are you serious?
Yeah. And I was like, someone knocked on my door and you were like a good 20, 25 feet away.
Yeah. I was in the very
actively involved in, I don't know.
And the gallery doors were shut. So it's not like a student could come in.
No. And it was a wood knock. It was not a glass knock or anyone. It was on that door. And that's the direction it came from. Mm-hmm. And and your hands were full, and I don't know if anyone's ever worked with this stuff, but it's for packing and it's this I call it big saran wrap essentially. There's no way you could have knocked on my door, ran back over there and been mid wrapping of that artwork. There's just no way. There's no way. And so I was like, someone just knocked on my door,
You felt the vibration. You felt it. And
it was
did you see any shadows or anything?
I didn't because all the blinds were shut, but I literally heard it was 2 knocks. Just like that.
Yeah. And then So the night before, it was comedy night at the State Theater with like, many podcast guests I've had on. And afterwards, I did go up there and I was doing a spirit box session, and Jeremiah did come through and he said, fun at the art gallery. And I didn't know what that meant. And then the next day we had that experience because Jeremiah he's playful, like he's still up there, but he also kind of follows me around. And I don't allow ghosts to do that, but Jeremiah is one of the few ghosts like that, if he wants to follow me, like, because he's a cool dude. Like he's good. He's love. He's light. He's a cool artist. He's a cool musician. And we've also heard jazz music too, which was weird.
We heard like
specifically a saxophone. So, and I do have a painting. Like I did a painting at the Harmerstown Grawl art party in June of Jeremiah that is in the, that will be in the gallery. And I'm pretty sure, because I took it to the State and I went up there to the balcony and I was like, hey, Jeremiah, like, I have this painting of you. I'm pretty sure, actually, no, we do have Spirit Box session with it where we got his voice coming through wanting to tip me a $10 bill.
No, it was 20.
Oh, it's 20.
So upped you to a 20. Because I know you had told me before he likes to tip you $1. He's going to
tip me $1 because I'm a drag queen.
Yeah.
And he increased it to $20.
Yeah, and I joked. I said he gave you an upgrade.
He did. So he is attached. So there is going to be a haunted painting in the art gallery, which and it's Jeremiah. Like, I'm like, dude, we're going to make you famous. Like.
Well, and I will say, like, because you had done a couple Spirit Box sessions, and there was one where I heard I heard the dollar on was it the Art of Drag video?
Yes.
Was it on that one?
Yep.
So I heard the dollar on the Art of Drag video, and then when you brought the Spirit Box in with the painting, and you got upgraded to the 20.
No, and I was there with Lexi one time. In the lobby, and he came through and said dollar.
And
that was Lexi's first time experiencing the
that's
paranormal because she was like, oh my God, he said it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and then so I remember you showing me that video recording, and then when we were in the gallery and you had the painting and the Spirit Box session, and Jeremiah said the other ghosts were annoying.
Of course.
Yes. And so when I heard the 20...
Which we're still trying to decide where there are ghosts in the art building.
Yeah.
There is the pre-Columbian collection, but that dude's cool. There's other stuff here that we're trying to figure out.
So the voice was the same. And take from that what you will, but I have a very good ear for voices. Here's a really...
It's the same voice. You know the inflection.
I'm going to tell you a real short story unrelated to Jeremiah, but this is about voice. And okay, so... A long time ago, I used to work the front desk at the Visionary Art Museum.
Best museum in the world. Go there, check it out.
It is really cool. And I will say a lot of my space design influence comes from them.
Yeah.
Them and the Walters.
Best place ever. Bob Benson, I remember doing that mosaic class with him, and he's so cool. And he has a fart wall in the basement. Like, it's amazing.
And how they set up their exhibitions and the colors and just everything is always so well done. But I used to work the front desk and like admissions and a little bit of membership. And one day there was this guy that came in and he had like bushy gray hair and this bushy beard, right? With a little bit of like streaking salt and pepper in it or whatever. And he wanted to get into the museum, came for, admission. And I looked at him and I went, I know that voice. Like, and I sat there and I thought while I was doing it, I charged him, after everything. It was Bill Pullman.
Oh, God.
It was Bill Pullman. And I'm just sitting there. And as he goes up the ramp with like a couple people behind him, and I'm just like, I just charged Bill Pullman for admission to a museum. I was like, what's going on?
He has the money, he can pay for it.
And I remember going, like, I snuck up to the gift shop and I tried to get the gift shop owner at the time to get his autograph for me because I was way too shy. And I was told by the gift shop owner, no way in hell, go do it yourself, girly. And so I went back down to the desk and his assistant came back and I was like, can I please have an autograph? And so the assistant was like, here, and I got 2 tickets to his play out of that, which is really cool. But so I went. Yeah. I got to go see him.
But you recognized the voice.
I recognized the voice. He did not look like... I'm used to seeing Bill Pullman from, like, While You Were Sleeping. Yeah. So when he was, like, younger, and this was, like, 20-some years later, looked nothing like him, but damn, that voice was,
Oof.
So when I say the voice from the $1 to the 20 was the same voice, the $1 to the 20 was the same voice. The $1 was at the State Theater in Haverty Grace.
Yep.
The 20 was in my gallery 15 feet away from where I'm sitting.
Yep.
So, Like
and
I
mean,
said.
we will have spirit boxes on the painting, so like, you know, and if you come here and if you bring your own equipment and you're cool with it, Jeremiah is very playful and he will play with you, and he has a sense of humor, and he's a fun dude. So I don't know. So wrapping up real quick, I'm about to beam up. This is a coffee break. Do you go to Dunkin', Starbucks, independent coffee house? What is your coffee drink of choice?
Okay.
I would ask you about self-care, but we already went through that with the umbilical cord.
Yes, that umbilical cord is a lot of self-care.
Mm-hmm.
So coffee. So one thing, I don't exist without it anymore.
I mean, you can just stick a vein up and just IV it into my bloodstream at this point.
At that point, that's what I should be doing.
Yeah.
But so I used to do Starbucks. It was like, but quite frankly, as much as I love you, Starbucks, you're too expensive. So
it doesn't do it for me. I don't know. Like, it's not my fave.
Yeah.
I'm a Dunkin' dude.
So now I literally will pack 2 or 3 coffees of my own stuff from home, which I'll admit, is Green Mountain. I really like Green Mountain coffee. And I put in a protein shake and some stevia. And I said, I 3 or 4 of those, and I take them all with me. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I drink from both as I'm walking up to my office. So,
well, doing the bodybuilding that I do, one of my nutritionists said use protein shakes as coffee creamer.
It's great. It's less
great.
calories.
Yes.
It actually has nutrients in it, and it's kind of like a meal. So
it adds to it. But you know what I've been doing recently? So I got a Keurig. I love Cafe Bustelo, and then the Chobani cinnamon, because I love cinnamon and coffee. It's cinnamon crumb cake in the Chobani, the little
cinnamon crumb cake is good.
It's so fucking good, and I make it iced and Cafe Bustelo is the only way to go because Cuban coffee is the best. But yeah, I've been doing that a lot, way more than I thought, because I used to be a chai person. I don't do matcha because I think matcha makes me want to barf. But I don't know, I love it, and I only do cold coffee. So.
Oh really? I used to only do there was a coffee I really love at the Renaissance Festival, which we used to call iced crack. Yes, we used to call it that because it's addictive. It was so good. And
I'm like that with Cuban coffee. It's the best.
So good.
All right, we'll be talking for an hour. Guys, check out the Paranormal Realm. The link's in the episode description. Nicole, where can we find you?
So I do have a website. It's NicoleBuckinghamKern.com. That's my artwork.
Check out her art. Support local artists.
Yeah. Oh, and if anyone likes to read a blog, I do have a blog. It's The Barefoot Gallerist, so you can check that out too.
Where's that at?
It's on Medium. I don't know if anyone uses that.
Is it sponsored?
I don't know. I pay a little membership fee so I can read and write and stuff like that. But I really enjoy it. There's just little snippets about what it's like being me.
Well, there's a lot of artists behaving badly is a very common theme that we bitch about. We're working in the art gallery world.
There is some of that. There's also a lot of just my inability to say no to a very good idea. If there's something really cool, I sort of bend over more than backwards to do it, sometimes to my own detriment, but it's always an awesome project when it's done.
I mean, we have some you can check out the website. We have some cool shit in this gallery. So
We do.
All right, beam back up to the UFO. All right, bye, guys.